How you doing, young lady?
I'm doing all right.
What's your name? Where you from?
My name's Comet McCusker, and I'm from Washington, D.C.
You're from Washington, D.C.? So what you doing down here up in Greensboro, North Carolina?
I moved here when I was 99 after my mom left, and it's just me and my mom, and I just came down here for college, basically. I got my GED, and...
Back in 1999? So how old are you?
I'm 40, and I didn't go to college till 2001, I guess.
2001? Okay, that's what's going on. So let's talk about your childhood a little bit. How was your childhood? You grew up in a two-parent household?
No, it's just me and my mom, no siblings, and I never met my dad. And she was...
you and your mom, no siblings?
Yeah,
no brothers, sisters?
No brothers, sisters.
And you never met your dad?
Never met him. No, nobody actually on the maternal side of my family knows their real dad.
Oh yeah? Why is that? Your mom?
Everybody, I mean, yeah, nobody ever met their dad. Their dad just didn't want to be involved in their life, and everybody got remarried.
So how was it being raised by your mom alone? How was your childhood? You say your childhood?
My mom wasn't maternal. She was permissive and passive for the most part, but occasionally reactive. And she she didn't want kids overall, so she actually didn't have me call her mom. She had me call her Jennifer.
Oh, so you call your mom Jennifer?
By her real name, yeah.
Oh yeah. So you kind of got to do whatever you wanted to growing up.
Yeah, yeah, for the most part. I mean, but we didn't have normal dinners, or it was either fast food or I'd make myself Oreos for dinner, and she kind of was in the back room just doing whatever. And,
oh yeah. Yeah. So how were your teenage years?
Teenage years, we moved by bipolar alcoholic grandmother in at 13, and she was kind of abusive, and between mom's absence and her, things got chaotic, and I started using at 13.
Oh, you started using what?
I first tried, actually cocaine was the first drug I tried.
Cocaine was the first drug you tried?
Mm-hmm. Then marijuana a week later, and then crack right after that. And
so you did all this when you were 13, 14 years old? So you tried crack at 13 and 14? 13. How did that happen?
Yeah, there were two kids who had a worse childhood than mine down the road.
You say what now?
They had a worse childhood than mine, and they lived in a trailer that was connected with some plywood. And I never met their parents, but they were 13 and 15, and they were hooked on crack, and I think their parents were.
And that's who introduced you to it?
Yeah, and from there, then I tried ecstasy and acid at 15, and went back to crack and alcohol at 16 and 17, and heroin finally at the age of 20.
Okay, so at 20 you went from crack all the way to weed, all the way to heroin.
Yeah. I was basically doing crack and heroin and alcohol. And I stopped weed at 18. I didn't care for it. It was too weak.
So, being that you went through all those things at a very young age, do you think that shaped your perception of the world, make you look at things different than the average person your age?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I think so. I tried to get it right, and I got on a methadone program at 21, and I went to college and studied psychology.
So you did finish school?
Yeah, master's.
That's your GED.
Master's in psychology and a bachelor's in finance. And,
oh yeah,
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. So you went to college in 22, 21?
I went to college at 17, but
7.
I transferred to the university at 20. So,
okay.
And hence why I got on the methadone program, because I was doing drugs and I was worried I'd fail school. I was university.
So did you finish college?
Yeah, I finished. I spent about 10 years in school.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and finished. I mean, I was in a 15-year relationship and owned my own house outright. Bought it in January 2012 when the economy tanked for $35K, and did my life right for about 16 years there on the methadone program.
So you were clean for about 16 years?
16 years, and I had ended up with a heart problem when I was 30 though, and that my ex was very abusive. I didn't have like a point of reference for a healthy relationship because of how I grew up, and I didn't know. I never saw my mom interact with a man or much less friends. So it was kind of the unsocialized talk.
Yeah. So you saying you was in an abusive relationship? Talk about that a little bit.
Say it again.
You said you was in an abusive relationship?
Yeah.
Talk about that for a second.
He was mostly psychologically abusive, but occasionally physically. More intimidation, and he pushed me against, like a wall or something, just to kind of intimidate me. He was 6'2" and 260, and I'm 4'11" and 100 pounds.
Did he have like a substance abuse problem?
Yeah. He was on heroin as well, and on and off he relapsed throughout our relationship. But for the most part, he never worked his recovery, and so he just his mom was abusive, and she screamed and cussed and hit.
So
and
it got into him, and he just passing on
Yeah.
down as we became.
Yeah.
Y'all have any kids together? You got any kids?
No kids. I chose not to have kids with him. I was afraid that he would abuse them or abuse me in front of them. And after what I went through, I wanted my kids to, have
So-
like a.
So do you have any kids?
No, I mean,
Okay.
I wanted them to, so I went to college and I tried to do
Right,
everything
I get
right. And eventually, I realized like he wouldn't change and that it wasn't going to go that way. And
Okay.
so I had like 4 pregnancies throughout our relationship up until I was 27, and each time I chose to end it because I knew he would, basically probably hold my kids hostage from, or abuse them,
Right.
and so.
So you thought it was in your best interest not to have them?
Yeah,
So you got
which
abortion.
everything I did was to have kids, and now I'm 40 and I probably won't have
I
them.
get it. So once you got, did you relapse during that time after 16 years? Did you relapse with him, or did you relapse after y'all broke up, or what?
I relapsed after we broke up. I had a 3-year successful relationship.
With somebody else?
Our relationship, my relationship with my ex-husband was a little weird because I was sick with the heart problem from the abuse, and that self-corrected, but they told me to get my affairs in order. And that kind of, that was scary, and that's when I really realized how abusive he was. And they said no emotional and physical trauma, that it could flatline my heart. And the day I got out of the hospital, he choked me on the bed and was screaming at me, and my heart started to mess up, and I had to call EMS.
So this was the ex, the
ex-husband.
Okay.
The exes I had, the guys I dated after were actually the healthy relationships for 2 of them.
Okay. So
And then it started to go downhill again.
so who was you with when you decided to relapse? Matter of fact,
nobody.
what led up to your relapse?
I dated a guy for a couple years, and we had a great relationship. I traveled the country. I had my own business. I was doing everything right, and then the guy that I dated after him, when I left my ex, I went home to my mom and grandma, and I'd probably say that's actually where the relapse happened, even though, they say it happens before it happens. And that led to it being back in that toxic environment with them. And from there, I dated a guy who was, controlling, and he put cameras up in every room of the house and would question where I was going. I had saved up 10 grand to get away from my ex, and he would take my money and then tell me I lost it. And the first relapse happened with him, really, where I was drinking a lot, and he kind of encouraged it. He was a functional alcoholic, and I'd get so drunk I didn't remember what happened, and so I'd be missing $400. And I had 2 DUIs, but the second one they hadn't taken my privileges yet, so I had minimal time to drive and make money through my business. And I bought a car. He helped me with it, so he was I only had $1,300 left from what he stole, and he came in with $500, and I thought, wow, that's really, and then he actually took the title and put it in his name, and from there he controlled how the car was driven, and after that everything plummeted, and he would lock the doors, and I'd be outside on the streets, and it was winter.
So he would lock you out the house in the wintertime?
Yeah, it was freezing cold. And from there, I left. I went back to my husband.
You went back to the same guy that was abusive?
He found out I was dating, and when he did, him and the guy got into a competition, and my ex knew everything about me, so he knew how to...
So he won the competition, he knew how to manipulate you, bait you back in?
Yep, and as soon as he did, I moved back in, and 2 weeks later, it was all the same. And he was, at this point, he started becoming physically abusive, and was hitting me and dragging me out by my hair and locking the doors as well. He learned a lot from the boyfriend before him. The boyfriend before him with the cameras would break my phones or hack into them, and he picked up on that.
So he started doing the same thing?
Yep. I'll kick her out. And from there, I met a guy on the streets one day. My ex had kicked me out, and I called the boyfriend with the cameras, and he came to pick me up, and we got into an argument instantly because it was toxic. And in the midst of that, I decided, I started getting to a point where I didn't fight back anymore. I just wanted to escape. So I hopped out of his car, and that wasn't really my norm, but I just started running from everything. And I hopped out, and I met a guy who had just gotten released on for parole for 10 years of armed robbery and from convenience stores. And we ended up walking, he was walking me downtown and telling me the other guy was following me and filming us. And from there, he just kind of became my friend. And so in me dating my husband, we started texting. And he finally, my husband kicked me out one night, and he said, I'll get you a motel room. And he put me into the crack motels of Greensboro, and I didn't know. Turns out I lived 2 miles from him for 10 years in my house. And I had no idea that I lived 2 miles from an area that was prostitution and crack. I was just getting a motel room, and we dated for 4 months. And he was in the boarding house with a guy who smoked crack, who did, he was on the run for 3 years and did, he had robbed banks for like 3 years. And he had gotten out of the halfway house first, so he put me with him. And I would wake up at night, and the guy would be talking to me over my bed at like 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm asleep, and I was like, who the heck did you room me with? Like, and he was staring at the floor, looking at the ground. And finally one day, I just had a shitty day, and I'd smoked crack before, and never really liked it in my teen years, but I hit it, and after that, it was on, and I smoked every single day up until a week ago this past week, and well, actually a year ago when I did jail time, but I smoked every single day for about 3 years, and then I ended up I was on probation for the DUI still, and I was out here. I couldn't make it to court. I couldn't keep up with everything. I couldn't, I had no idea, and so I kept getting FTAs, and they finally caught up with me on my bonds on my birthday of last year, and I did 39 days, but it got me off probation, and I went forward, and when I did, I tried to go back to my ex after jail, and that lasted 2 weeks, and I was back on the streets again, and then in December, he had taken a job out of town, and I called him and went home for about another 2 weeks, and he kicked me out again. And then I was on the streets officially for the first time ever, like long term, from January to May of this past year. And then to try to get my dog back, I went back home in May to September, but I had charges from right where we're filming. Okay.
Oh, yeah?
But yeah, they're okay with it. But they weren't the ones that called. It was actually the police said they were looking for someone in the area, and they saw one of us run. And when they did, I just so happened to be behind the building, and they had the charges off. They went out to Raleigh, and I couldn't come back for court. My ex wouldn't let me. And when they caught up to me, they arrested me for a $50 bond. And I have nobody, so I spent 18 years in jail for $50. So, and from there, they unsecured my bond October 9th, which was this past Monday, I guess. What are we on, Thursday?
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. So where you living at now? You homeless or what?
I'm homeless, and
so where you sleeping at?
Right here.
Right here on the sidewalk?
Yep, pretty much. I mean, mostly I don't sleep. I'm turning checks all night, and the only reason I'm doing that is I started that back in February. I finally gave up, and it's a means to an end. So when I got released this time, I wanted to do it different. So I basically been trying to sustain a much smaller habit, along with just trying to get off the streets and get into a room where I'm not here. It's like for a female, it'd be kind of dangerous sleeping right here on the sidewalk for a female. What type of danger is involved in that lifestyle? Mostly my stuff gets stolen. Sleeping isn't the issue as much as just being out here. Most people, if you're sleeping, they might raid your stuff. I don't have anything. It's been stolen so many times. What I'm wearing right now is what I have. And I actually just got...
So the only outfit you got is what you got now?
I just got this yesterday, and...
Well, I got a donation for you. It might help you out a lot.
All right. I got this yesterday, and I had a couple more clothes, and that bag got taken. And so you can't keep anything out here.
Yeah, the homeless stealing from the homeless.
And to get out of here, I can't keep a phone. I can't... So I've been gripping my money, literally, and hiding it. And various places on my body, I guess.
So you have any family out here? Just you?
Just me. It's my family.
Oh, man. So what is another one of your damaging consequences of your lifestyle?
I mean, mostly I've blown up my life. I lost my dog.
Love that dog too. You keep talking about it.
Yeah. He's my baby.
You did what now?
he's my baby, and I lost him to my ex because I couldn't put him in a proper house.
So what kind of dog was it?
Great Pyrenees.
How long did you have him?
He's 9 years.
You had him for 9 years? Is he still living now?
Yeah, he's still living. I just saw him a couple months ago.
So your ex still got him?
Yeah, we brought him out to Raleigh with us, and he's 9, so they only live 8 to 10 years.
How many?
8 to 10.
So he's like he right at the end.
Yeah, and I mean he's taken care of, but you know, I wanted him back. When I had my heart problem, I just had gotten him 2 weeks prior, and I was a little puppy I couldn't take care of, and you know, I used to drag him outside for 30 minutes so he could get like yard time, and play like dumb little hand games with him in bed, and so he hated the bed. As soon as he got big enough to get out of it, he'd slide down.
Okay, so
but he loved his mom. He's very loyal because I guess because I was sick. He's very protective, and it causes a lot of depression for him.
so the dog was like your emotional support too,
Yeah.
like a service dog,
Yep.
right?
And yeah.
I get that. I got a service animal myself.
Yeah, and I guess for him, you know, it's he's more fond of me, or more, you know, just more. He grips to me more, and to not have his mom there, he doesn't understand.
Right. So let me ask you something. If you have any, if you got any regrets, what would be your biggest regret in life?
My biggest regret, gosh, I don't know, so many. I think my biggest regret would be taking it too lightly out here when we first started using.
You said what now?
Taking it too lightly and not understanding the consequences when I first started using. I thought it was fun, and I didn't realize how quickly things could spiral.
Right.
And now, you know, it's an everyday fight to try to get off the streets.
Right. I get that too. Before we end the interview, I want you to do me a favor. In case there's any kids, minors, youth, or another grown-up contemplating choosing the same lifestyle that you chose, going down the same road that you went down, what type of advice would you have them? Give them?
I tell them, you know, it's a dangerous road, and it's just there's a lot of risk, and we're not in control of that, and do not mess with it. It's a slippery slope, and you won't know it until you get there. You can't see it coming. You think you're in control, and you're not.
Right. That's excellent advice. I appreciate your time. I got a donation for you, but I do want to say this to you. It seems that from listening to you, not only did you relapse on with the substance abuse, but I hear that you keep going back to the same exes that keep keeping you down, hurting you, abusing you, things like that. So I hope if I see you again, you won't tell me that you went back to those same guys.
No.
I see that you keep going back to the same men that's abusing you, taking advantage of you, exploiting you, and things like that, man. And that's a sad thing. So I pray that you get the help, you find the help that you need. And I also pray that you do not go back to them same men that's manipulating you, taking your advantage of you, controlling you, keeping you hostage. I appreciate your time. God bless you. And I got a donation for you.